if it's letting me do it or not. Okay, I think it'll let me do it. Hi, guys. It's clunky as always. All right, I don't want that post in there. I didn't realize I had the post in there. Oh, now it's worse. Okay, here. Okay, now we're crooked. Okay, try again. You know me with being crooked. I don't like to be crooked. Okay, let me go live on Facebook, or not, on TikTok here. 3, 2, 1. Whoops, I turned the camera around. I don't know what happened there. I don't think I can do that in now. I got to start it over again. I accidentally hit the button to turn the camera around. I don't know what happened there. That's so weird. Live. Let's try that again. My fingers are so cold. Oh, it did it again. Oh, stop. Dang it. It did it again. Okay, and it's turning the camera around when I go live.
What are your bond prices?
Let's see. Live. See, right now it's not looking at me. Okay, so I gotta flip it. Okay. All right. For some reason, when I went live, it stopped. The camera flipped. All right. Let's get this closer again. Okay. Let's see here. Go live. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. I want to make sure I'm in your screen and in my screen.
Yep.
There we go. Let's get this guy over here. Hi, guys. Hi, Cat Howard. Cat Howard here with Windermere in Woodinville, Washington. And I'm joined today with Dan Mellis. We try to do this every week. We shoot for Tuesdays. We're pretty good today. I think we're almost on time. What is it, Dan? 3 o'clock? It's 2 minutes. Yeah, see? Look at us go. You know, we actually shoot for 2. But if we're at 3, we're all good. So, anyway, let's see. Do I need to get back? I know. It's a little clunky on our end. I'm trying to get where my whole head is in your view, too.
Well, we're coordinating a couple of very busy people.
We are coordinating a couple busy people. It's complicated sometimes, Dan.
It is. But we're getting it, and here we are.
Yes, here we are.
We're here.
Yes. And we're rolling.
So let's talk. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about interest
I
rates?
want you know what? I'm dying to know what interest rates have done. Where are they? Are we at 8.5, Dan?
Almost.
Oh, gosh.
Not quite.
That's not good news.
Actually,
That's
no,
hard.
it is good news. Hang on here. Okay. We're in the sixes.
Okay.
Barely.
That's good news.
But we're in the sixes.
Good.
So we got this is hot pricing.
Hot off the presses?
Hot off the presses. Yes. So we're looking at 6.97 on a conventional 20% down.
Okay.
This is with 10% down, same rate, slightly higher APR because you got a little bit of mortgage insurance. Pumps up the APR a bit.
Yeah.
FHA in the mid-sixes, 6.605.
Okay.
VA, zero down, 6.834.
I like
bad.
it. I like it. Nothing
And then
down.
USDA, for those of you on the east side of Highway 9, 6.915%.
I'm on the east side of Highway 9.
What's that?
Hi, guys. Hi, John. Hi, Dom. Hi, Tolson. Hi, David. Hey, I'm on the east side of Highway 9, Dan.
Do a USDA loan.
Okay, folks, you heard it here first. You
No
can get
doubt.
a USDA loan if you're on the east side of Highway 9 in Snohomish.
That would be correct.
And then you would be my neighbor.
Yes,
That's right.
Except for you be living in the nice house. I'd be living in the trailer.
I'd be living in the big house.
You'd be living in
You know what? I do that to my clients. I've done that to 2 of them this year. I put the set their searches up and I said the big house. I swear to God. One of my investors is looking for a 5 or 6 bedroom, over 4,000 square feet out in kind of Snohomish County area, up towards Arlington, or maybe out towards Monroe or Snohomish, out in the country and wants a little acreage. But I set his search up because I've got him set up on investment property as well, right? Around the whole area.
Right.
You know, all the way down to Grays Harbor, over to Bremerton. We're even looking at Sumas. Have real estate license, will travel.
Hey, you've been doing a lot of traveling this week.
I've been traveling
Already.
Oh my God. But anyway, I've got my investor set up on a search called Search for the Big House.
Search for the Holy Grail.
And you know, a couple of them came up because he's looking up to $1 million, and I'm like, I think I might be able to do that. So one came up on Camino. I think it was only 4 bedrooms, but it's on some acreage, so it's possible out there. The deal is I was telling him about the house that I found for my clients up in Arlington that's closing on Thursday, and that big, beautiful 2,600 square foot house on the golf course that we picked up for a very nice value.
Oh, nice.
The appraisal came in, what was it, almost $30,000 over what my clients paid for it. So very, very happy about that. That's my goal, is for me to get my clients a better deal than what actually it will appraise for. If the value is, if they can pick it up for less than what it appraises, then I am a happy, happy buyer's agent. Now,
There you go.
now, if I'm a seller, if I represent a seller, I want to hang on to that money for my seller. So, because I don't want their appraisal for their buyer coming in above what they net. So,
Well, you're like any great lawyer. They can argue both sides of the case.
it takes it, yes, you have to be prepared for both sides in my shoes. So, but yeah, so anyway, so my client, my investor client who's looking for the big house, he's willing to go up to $1 million, and I was telling him what a great deal we got on this last one that's closing this week. And so he's like, his wife really wants to get out of the house they're in. What he did was he took a duplex in Linwood and he converted it to a single family home. So now it's got 2 kitchens, 2 family rooms, 2 living rooms, 2 dining rooms, and it's got a 4-car garage. But she's tired of living like that. She's like, I want a mansion. She's like, I want a big dining room for a house that has 5 or 6 bedrooms, not 2 medium-sized dining rooms. So it's pretty funny him telling me about his wife. I was like, smart lady. Ask for what you want. So I'm like, I haven't met her yet, but I know I'll like her. So anyway, yeah. So yes, and speaking of traveling, Dan, before we get started, I made a trip down to Aberdeen on Sunday. My investor client, my out-of-state investor client, is very keen on the triplex I've had my eye on for a while down there on Washington Avenue. And it's a triplex. It pencils nicely. I think the rents are $37.50 a month. And there's just 1 unit that still needs to get rented out. I think it's probably one of the lesser attractive units because the second bedroom doesn't have any windows. And it's really small, but it would function as a bedroom. There wasn't even a light in there. There was a light in the closet. Anyway. So, but I was very disappointed. So what happened was I got down there and actually did a little video about the fact that I was going to take a walk through this triplex and showed the front of it, and because it's super darling. It's got some really cool architectural details from the early 1900s because it was built probably around 1900. And so my clients get there. I get the key out of the contractor lockbox there, where the in the utility room where the hot water tanks are. So the most recent owner, the seller right now, he's a realtor. And he bought it in March. I want to say he paid like $1.25 for it, but whatever he paid doesn't matter. But he bought it to flip it. And so what he did was he converted the home, the triplex, from having forced air heat to electric heat, so wall heaters. So he had some of the electrical redone and installed wall heaters in all the units. So that's fine. So that's kind of, I mean, that's an improvement if you are trying to bill separately for the electric, right? So he got 3 meters on the outside of the house there, and he's got 3 hot water tanks, 3 brand new ones, and he's got the heat also separated, so that for a landlord, they can, know which unit is utilizing the utilities and bill that tenant for those utilities. So, but the other thing he did was he painted the exterior and he painted the interior, and it looks like he probably replaced the interior doors with white 6-panel, not the frames, just the doors, because you could see where they'd been chiseled out to fit the previous hinge locations. Right. But also he replaced the stoves and the refrigerators with stainless steel. And so those were very nice. That was it. No gutters. Not a new roof. There are areas that were incomplete on, especially the outside. The utility room had, he had subfloor down in the utility room that did not go all the way to the wall. Now, as a person who walks into a utility room, assuming you can step on the subfloor, it makes you nervous when there's a 1 to 2 inch gap before it gets to the wall, and you actually can see into the crawl space where there are critters. I'm almost certain they would take up residence. If I were a critter, I would take up residence in that crawl space. Do you know why? Because I have access to the utility room with the hot water tanks. It's gonna be warmer in there. So, anyway, my client said, let's just see what we can see through the crack in the floor there. And so she whipped out her phone and shined her cell phone light down in there. And from standing, without even getting down to the floor, I could see water glistening on the vapor barrier. It was very obvious. And there was a significant amount. It wasn't like a couple drops or it was just moist. There was a lot of water in the vapor barrier. And I just threw my hands up in the air and I said, I can't. There's no gutters. And I said, this is too big a risk for my buyer to come in, have a $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 inspection done on a triplex, and then try to negotiate with this seller who has to know about this situation and is choosing to not do anything about it at all. So to fix something like that, I mean, for one thing, I'm sorry, I'm on fire because I drove all the way to Aberdeen. And listen, I don't mind driving to Aberdeen to look at a cool property, but when I get there and it's not what I thought, then I get a little jacked up, a little jazzed, So anyway, there's a whole bunch of things going on that are problems, especially if you're thinking about making an offer. One, why is there water on top of the vapor barrier in the crawl space? And I mean, I don't know how pervasive it was. I don't know how much of the crawl space has water in it, but just the fact that we could see plenty of water made me uncomfortable because it wasn't on the exterior wall of that utility closet. That was an interior wall. So it was 3 or 4 feet away from probably the foundation, right? And so that's going to be, I mean, where's that water coming from? I'm assuming that it's because there's no gutters on the place, none. And so the water's just literally coming off the roof and going straight down the side, and the roof overhangs like a couple inches. It's not like 2 feet like some homes do, right? Right. And so my feeling is their water is in getting in the crawl space from coming off the roof in droves, like it was raining that day and it was just downpouring. It was what it was. And the other thing is, so this is the problem with moisture in the crawl space, and we're looking at a building that had been vacant for 10 years. That's what the agent told me on the phone, that it had not been lived in 10 years. He bought it, or I think one person bought it before them. They may have done something to it, and then he took it over from there and continued a little bit with the rehab. But I don't believe anyone ever addressed the crawl space other than maybe they put vapor barrier down there. And so... But the problem with water in the crawl space, especially in Aberdeen, because they do have kind of a high water table down there, Some areas are known for flooding, not this particular area because I don't allow my investors to buy in the flood zone down there. But still, the water table is quite high. And so moisture in the crawl spaces down there can be an issue on some of these older homes because there's anobiid beetles. I know I'm not saying that right. I don't know if it's anobid. Anyway, it's ANOBIID. So anobiid beetles and carpenter ants that often will do damage to the foundations. And those are post and pier, so they can do damage to the posts. They can also do damage to the joists running under the rim joists, the floor joists. And so over 120 years, you can imagine that there could be one colony, that could have been many colonies that infested and have done damage. And you would need a very thorough foundation inspection to determine how much damage actually is there. And so for me, I didn't think it was worth the risk for any of my investors to even get into it. The seller should have addressed the water in the crawl space and any foundation issues prior to putting it on the market. So
Right.
he's hoping someone will just buy it for cash flow. And there will be somebody who will do that. I would not be able to sleep at night. But some investor out there probably will give him what he wants because it is the best thing out there for cash flow that I've seen. And I'm not joking. It looks great. So, just not for my clients. I'm not doing that to them. I will not. So, unless they wanted to negotiate with the seller, and figure out how to navigate around that situation. I just find that when it gets to be that kind of a big deal, you're throwing around really big numbers, and then you're possibly looking at maybe, I don't know if they could do the work while the tenants are in there, possibly, but throwing a lot of money at it right away, or having the seller do the work, and then you lose a little control if you're having them do it. So anyway, I think that just got too complex. And one of my investors is a first-time investor, and he doesn't even have a primary residence. So he's just got, he's in the military and has a chunk of cash that he's trying to invest, and that he, received through an inheritance. And so he's trying to be really, really smart about it.
Right.
So his mom goes with me and takes a look at the properties in his place, and we poke around, and that's what we did on Sunday. So anyway, that got me a little hot, a little fired up.
Wait a minute. This isn't what it looked like in the pictures.
No, and but it was really, I don't regret going down there because I really did want to take a look at that one, because clearly it pencils. And if it was any way to make it work for an investor, one of my investors was going to buy that one. Because that was just a beauty. It was, so, but water in the crawl space, no can do.
No
So
can do.
that's out. But
That's out.
So that was half my Sunday, and the other half my Sunday, I went up to Arlington to do a final walkthrough for some clients that are purchasing a home in Glen Eagle on the golf course up there. And they are just so excited. So I was really thrilled to be able to tell them, hey, we get to do a final walkthrough. And they're like, okay, let's do that tomorrow, Kat. I'm like, no problem. As soon as I get back from Aberdeen, we'll just shoot up there. So that's what we did. And so the killer thing about this transaction in Arlington is my clients, when they walked in, I mean, for one thing, the wife was just like, I'm home. Before she even walked in the front door, she just took a look at the house, standing on the sidewalk, and she's like, I'm home. And I was like, oh my gosh. I looked at her husband and I went, Maggie likes this one. And I was like, holy cow. So we walked in that front door, and she never stopped gushing. Every room. And it was partly because of the way it was decorated. The staging was amazing. It was a common theme throughout the whole house. Lots of neutrals, but and the pictures that were on the walls were artfully placed and artfully selected. It's really well done. And so the husband says, Kat, tell the seller we want the furniture and stuff. And I was like, well, they're not gonna, they can't, it's the stagers. He's like, well, Call them. Maybe they'll give it to us. And I was like, right. So I call the agent on speakerphone right in front of my clients. And the gal goes, well, actually, she's moving out of state and she's liquidating her stuff. I'm like, you are kidding me. She's like, nope. So let me contact her and find out what she needs from your clients to keep the stuff, all the furnishings in the house and all the decor. And I got to tell you, we ended up settling on a price of $10,000, and the stager picked up the check from me today because closing's on Thursday. And my buyers are over the moon. Like, they are moving into a house that is already decorated. They need to bring beds, dressers, and their belongings, but they're moving into a fully furnished home. Pillows, throw rugs with carpets on the carpets. I mean, it's lots of throws, chairs and sofas and end tables, and I mean, knickknacks, lots and lots of cute, there's books that are, coffee table books, but all kinds of decor, pieces of decor, right down to, cutting boards, decorative cutting boards that you are actually functional. It's just, every time I looked at something, I'm like, Maggie, you get that on Thursday. That's yours on Thursday. We just kept going through the house and doing that. And like the pictures on the walls were just striking. Anyway, I'll have to, I don't know if I've showed you this listing, Dan, but it is really, really beautiful the way the stager put it together. It's kind of surprising to me that it was on the market for 30, 35, 45 days. But my clients are the winners. They got all the staging, and they got the home for a very reasonable price. That's the one where we actually, the appraisal came in quite a bit higher than what they netted the seller. So pretty happy about that. So anyway, that's what I did on Sunday. That was a busy day, huh?
It's a real busy day.
And then I got back home, and my neighbors had my doggy, Mr. Fat Tuesday. And they actually offered me a glass of white wine. It was like probably 6:30 at this point. And I was like, heck yeah. And my dog is having so much fun because all three of his humans that love him are in the same room. So he now is like wide awake, and he's starting to chew on his bone and running around. And we're like, okay, now he's really happy. We can't break up the party. So they brought me a glass of white wine, and we sat there and we chatted. I had a second glass of wine. Because they're right up the, right up the hill. They're in my driveway. Let's face it. there was no getting on a public road at that point. So, it was 100 yards.
No checkpoint Charlie.
No checkpoint Charlie on my driveway. Thank goodness. So yeah, and then we rolled in at probably 7:30, 8 o'clock, but it was a good day. So the best part of the day was seeing my clients happy to be in their home, their new home they're buying. It's just thrilling because what they do is, and they've done this every time. So we walked through it the first time when we toured it, right? We stayed there forever, right? And then we had an inspection. We were there for like 4 hours. The inspection wasn't 4 hours. And I couldn't get Maggie out. I mean, honestly. She just would sit down and she'd go to another room. It was just very darling. Oh my gosh. Anyway, and then we had the family come and tour it on the next Sunday. So the whole family came with the 4-year-old grandkids and all the adult children. And so there was like 8 or 9 of us there. And that was an hour and a half. I couldn't get them out. The last half hour, I sat down on the stairs because I was tired of standing at that point, and they were clearly in their element. So they started taking pictures, and oh, geez, it was very sweet, and all the laughter and joys and oohs and ahs. It was very heartwarming. And then there was this time, again, a full hour doing the walkthrough, which usually takes 10 minutes. But I was looking forward to it because they just are looking forward to moving into this house with their whole hearts. He has been working double shifts as a nurse for over a year to make this happen. And she's also been working double time a lot of times, double shifts. So both of them have been working hard to get into an income bracket to where they can actually afford to buy in this climate. right? So last year they were ready to roll again, and interest rates started going up the beginning of the year. They were just about there. Now they had to make more money because interest rates were now over 6% by midsummer. So they were working more and more until they could finally qualify. And then they qualified to keep their existing residence and buy the new one. So good for them. Very proud of them. They worked. This is a true worked for what you want success story. And they did it. And I am extremely proud of this couple. And I want to say, well, they have grown children. So they're probably, 50s. Right, they wanted the big house. They're coming from a townhouse with essentially no yard, just a little bit of a patio behind them. And so they wanted the big house for the guests to come stay. So there's 2 rooms on the main floor that you can utilize as bedrooms. And then there's another 3 bedrooms upstairs. So it's 5 bedrooms. And then there's
a big house.
Yep, and then there's a formal living room, a formal dining room, and a breakfast nook. And the kitchen is enormous for a 2,600 square foot house. It's enormous. And the sellers had just put on brand new quartz and honed granite on the island. Oh my gosh, the kitchen's gorgeous, just gorgeous, and it looks at the golf course. On top of it. If that's not enough, plus you get to keep all this stuff in the kitchen too. So the stager has all kinds of stuff, cute little birds and, all kinds of things, little boxes and these things that you would never think to decorate your own house with. She had it in there already. And so now for $10K, my clients get to keep all of it. They couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier for them. That's a slick deal.
Story.
It is, because you know what it would cost to hire a designer to put things in your house or tell you, what to put in your house to make a house work like that. That would take a long time and a lot of money. $10,000. I mean, that's probably the designer fee,
Wow.
So anyway, it just couldn't have worked out better. I kept saying that this just seems like Providence, like it was just meant to be. They met the neighbor after we left, after we toured it the first time, and they hung around a little bit to see if any of the neighbors would come out or they'd have a chance to talk to somebody about if they liked living in the neighborhood. And one of the little neighbors came out and she said, all right, you interested in buying this house? And they're like, oh yes, we really, really want it. And she said, I will pray for you. And he's like, oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. And I got to tell you, their prayers have been answered. They're being answered this week. Let's put it that way.
That's such a wonderful story.
It's an awesome story. I will hold that one very near and dear to my heart for the rest of my career, because it is a very heartwarming story. And they looked at me on Sunday when we were getting ready to leave. I gave them both big hugs because I feel like I've known them forever, like 4 or 5 years, right? And he looked at me as I kind of backed off and was going to get in my car, and he's like, you are part of the family now, Kat. I was like, I'll take it. Thank you, Frank. So it's just feel good all the way around, right?
Oh.
Gotta love that. That's a good part of my job. I love my job. I have the best job ever. So, feeling grateful, guys. Anyway,
so wonderful when
isn't that neat?
From the wife, not the first thing you hear, but
it was the first thing I heard when we got to the house that time.
I'm home.
The very first day is the first thing I heard out of anyone's mouth was she's standing on the sidewalk because they parked on the street, and she's walking up to the house, and she gets to the sidewalk that goes in front of the house, and she's standing at the end of the sidewalk that walks to the front door, and she just says, I'm home. And she goes, I'm home, Kat. I was like, oh my gosh, Frank, Maggie likes this one. Because she never said anything about any of the other houses. Like, I don't think she ever really wanted to put an offer in on anything else. So this was just suddenly the one, and it just went. Everything they wanted, they sort of got. It's just, you got a 3-car garage. I mean, we got a bigger house than they were looking for. It just, they have to drive a little further, but now it's a destination. Now they want to go there. And the kids, you should have heard the adult kids. I know I'm going on and on. I'm sorry. I kind of got all jazzed up about this. It's really, there's 2 major stories today from Sunday, and I was just on an emotional high because One of them was a disappointment, but the second one was just so amazing. It's just really, really heartwarming to see someone so excited. And the adult children, an hour of oohs and ahs. I mean, they were there for 90 minutes, but at the last half an hour or so, they kind of had gotten, but they were still exploring and going, oh my gosh, look at this closet. It's built, there's built-ins. Oh, these drawers pull out underneath the cabinets. And like, it just went on and on. So it was so funny. Melissa was amazing. So, and the 4-year-old grandkids, they were just having so much fun. So anyway, that's my story about them. They're amazing. It's a good story. It's feel good all the way around.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah. So on the note of gratitude, I forgot to mention this before, but I am doing a pie giveaway to my clients for Thanksgiving Day. So I'm calling it the Cat's Amazing Thanksgiving Day Pie Giveaway. So I just sent out invitations to all my clients, ones I'm working with and ones I've worked with over the years. And it's got a little QR code on there that you can, take a picture with your phone, and it will take you to a website specifically designed to give you choices of pie. So you could pick from pumpkin or apple or cherry or pecan. And then, so I've sent those out on Monday. And then I also sent out an email on Monday with the same information to the same people, essentially. And so I've already had a couple takers. The first person who called me, the second email went out. She texts me and she goes, oh, let's see. Oh, I should read it to you. But it said something like, who would not take a free pie? She goes, cat, exclamation point. Who would not take a free pie? Question mark. She's like, do we even qualify for this, Cat? We haven't, completed a transaction yet. I'm getting ready to list her mom's house. But I've known her for like 4 years, and she refers me clients, And I'm like, yes, you're being silly, Lisa. Of course you qualify. And I said, pick your pie. That way you don't have to cook one on Thanksgiving. And she's like, oh, woohoo, yay. Okay, apple. She's like, I'll go online right now and make my choice. I was just like, and that was like, if just one person took the pie, I was going to be just so happy. And that, just to get her reaction, was priceless. I loved that. And she lives really close to me on top of it. So anyway, so those are my feel-good stories right off the top. That's before we even get started. What time is it? It's 3:30. I went on and on for 30 minutes, Dan.
But it
Sorry.
was worth every second.
Hi, guys. Hi, Facebook, or Facebook and TikTokers. Hi, Van Dutch. Hey, Gino. Hey, Claudine. Hi, guys. Anyway, we're here with Kat Howard and Dan Mellis. I'm with Windermere Real Estate in Woodinville, just telling stories about my clients and my travels this past weekend in real estate. And Dan Mellis is talking loans and interest rates, and he had some really good news at the beginning of the show today that interest rates were actually just a tad below 7 in reality.
Reality, yes.
In reality, so that's not 8.5. That's below 7.
Yes.
That's good news.
You know what?
Yeah.
Let's run over to slide 2.
Oh yeah, let's move on to slide 2. Well, I'm holding up the show here.
No, it's okay. We'll just make this real quick. But this is the short-term chart going back to September 5th of the 10-year treasuries, and you can see the big breakdown that happened last week.
Oh yeah. Huh.
And that sure looks like it's going to continue lower.
Huh. Is that bonds and
Those
what
are
am I
bonds.
looking at? It's bonds and what else?
You're looking just bonds.
It's just bonds.
Just 10-year treasury notes.
So they're coming down.
On a
Those are
yield basis. Yes.
So they're coming down
Yes.
on a yield basis, yeah.
Yes.
So that's good for mortgage rates, right, Dan?
Very good.
We love it when something happens that's good for mortgage rates, because that helps my buyers. And my sellers, for that matter. All right, let me throw a jacket on.
Okay.
Not that I don't have a jacket on. Let's see. I'm going to go with khaki. Okay, there we go. I don't want to disappear from you guys too long. I'm afraid you'll leave me. I got my cream dress on today.
Always an excellent color choice.
Okay, here we go.
Khaki
Let's see.
with the cream.
Here we go. Okay.
Here we go.
We're back in business, baby.
We're back.
That's right.
Okay, wait a minute. I got an idea.
What?
Let's go with the county stats.
County stats, huh? We doing
County
that?
stats.
Okay.
County stats.
Let's do that. Let me put on some gray glasses here to go with my khaki stuff. Maybe I should do my brown here. I'll do my brown. Let's see if I can see through these, if they're clean enough to see through. So you guys think I do this for fashion? I actually need them. Which is kind of funny. Okay. Okay, here we go.
So we're starting with King County.
Are we starting with King County, Dan?
Let's start with the big boys.
Okay, we're starting with the heavy hitters today. King County. 1.5 month supply of inventory. So that's been very stable for the last 5 weeks. So we had a big increase in month supply of inventory about a month, just a little over a month ago, and then we have been very flat since then. So King County maintaining 1.5 month supply of inventory. 33% of sellers set offer review dates. And I have to tell you again, for the entire last month on a weekly basis, that it has been 33%. So there's 1/3 of sellers out there that feel like they're ready enough for the market that it's worth setting an offer review date. Because at a certain point, it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? If you get that percentage of people setting offer review dates gets too low, you're going to have a certain number of buyers that are going to start avoiding the properties that do have an offer review date because they can get just as good a property that doesn't have an offer review date. And so, buyers often worry this time of year that they're going to overpay for the house. And so that's a valid concern, because when I'm negotiating a house that's been on the market 2 to 4 weeks, I'm going for it. I'm going for the jugular. I'm sorry, sellers. When I work for buyers, we're asking for 2-1 buy downs. We don't always get the whole thing, but we're certainly trying. So if you miss that first 7 days, it can be dastardly. And that's if you set an offer review date and you miss it. Dang it. That could cost you. And we'll go over exactly what that would cost you because I have that data this week. Okay. 34% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And that's if you listed between October 22nd and October 28th. 44% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if you listed between October 8th and October 21st. So 34% the first 7 days get under contract within the first 7 days. That almost justifies the 33% that set offer review dates. And then, you still have another 10% of sellers getting under contract that second 7 days. So not bad numbers. Not bad numbers for this time of year. So I actually pulled another stat for right now because the numbers are kind of coming down a bit. I wanted to see how many sellers got under contract within the first 30 days. And that number for King County is 57% of sellers got under contract within the first 30 days on the market. So that's, now we're over half. So, and if you sit over 30 days, guys, I'm going to tell you exactly how much that's going to cost you. So not in King County, because we covered that last week, but in Snohomish County, I'm going to let you know how badly that hurts. Don't be on the market over 30 days. You're not going to like those numbers. So that's King County. All right.
That's King County.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of full of piss and vinegar. Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called.
I'm saying this today. I don't know what got into me. All right. Okay, here we go. I got more. Hi guys. Hi Gary. Hi Bill. Hey Jeff. Hi Facebook. Hi YouTube. Okay, we're moving on to Snohomish County statistics. 1.4 months supply of inventory. 28% of sellers set offer review dates. So 28% of sellers in Snohomish County set offer review dates. I need to adjust my paper here. I need to see my dates for, there we go. Adjust that up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get this. No, I don't know if I should put pressure right here. I'm worried about putting a clamp on my computer. for you know, because you never know. Remember the problem I have with my computer and I was worried about, you know, it suddenly went black on me and I had to send it off to Massachusetts to get it fixed. I get scared about clamping anything to it. Anyway, so Snohomish County, 29% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between October 22nd and October 28th. 42% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between October 8th and October 21st. Those, well, Snohomish County's still hanging in there. It's going up and down a bit. Their month supply of inventory has creeped up since, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, last 5 weeks, 6 weeks. It's creeped up quite a bit. It was hanging at like 0.9 to 1 to 1.1 there most of the summer. And last month, 6 weeks, we're kind of inching up a tad. But Snohomish County this year has been on fire, actually outpacing every other county around. King County has started kind of overtaking that. They're doing it slightly better, I think, than Snohomish County, but they're neck and neck as far as activity goes and the number of homes that get under contract and the percentage of sellers that get under contract within the first 7 or 14 days.
They both kind of stay close to each other, don't they?
They do. And I will tell you, so Snohomish County is a little bit better data for the sellers that got under contract within the first 30 days. They're actually at 60%. So King County was, I think it was 57. King County was 57%.
But in the same ballpark.
They are in the same ballpark. So really, the market for sellers is pretty good. But you are going to be surprised at what market time will cost you in Snohomish County. It's not as marketed as what it costs you in King County. The data for getting under contract within 0 to 7 days versus 0 to 4 or 8 to 14 days, it's significant. But it's even more significant when you get to the 14 to 30 days mark. So in Snohomish County, 0 to 7, 0 to 14, all kind of in the similar ballpark right now for the last 4 months. So June 20th through October 19th. So very similar. So I didn't separate that out. It wasn't enough of a difference. So I think that whether you get under contract within the first 7 days or first 14 days in Snohomish County, sellers are getting pretty close to what they're asking for, is what it looks like to me. But that 14 to 30 days, look out, Snohomish. It's a little bit of a hit. It's not terrible. It's not as bad as King, but there is a bit of a hit. But if you miss that 30-day mark and you're on the market over 30 days, you're getting hammered.
You got trouble, Buster.
Yeah. So you need to be really, really conscientious about where you're at there. So, okay, should we do Pierce? I know you love Pierce County, Dan.
Let's do Pierce.
Gosh, that makes my day.
Hang on just a second here.
Uh-oh, Dan's running behind.
I was. You know what I was doing?
Dan. What were you doing?
I was looking at my emails at Stats by Cat.
You got my Stats by Cat email, Dan.
I did get your Stats by Cat email.
It's because I sent it to you today. You get it every week, though. I send it to you every week because we do lives. Because you're special.
Yes. I go
like, oh my God.
I go to work every day on the short bus. Reserved for special people.
Oh my God, you took that to a whole nother level. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were going to go there with that. My clients are all special too. I mean that sincerely, not on the short bus thing. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna get to the point where I can't talk. Okay,
That's my goal.
Pierce County, 1.7 months supply of inventory.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh boy, 15% of sellers set offer review dates in Pierce County. 30% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between October 22nd and October 28th. 39% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between October 8th and October 21st. 51% of sellers in Pierce County got under contract in
30
Pierce
days.
County within, if they sold their, anyway, 51% of sellers got under contract within the first 30 days on the market. And that data goes back a full 30 days, right? So it's literally a month old, which is why I don't often report on it. But that would be essentially from October, like I think I pulled data on I pulled it on like the 6th. So it would be like October 7th through November 6th would be the month that we miss, right? We don't get to include that data. So it would actually be September 7th through October 6th, right? That would be the data set. That's where that's from. So that data, you guys, it is a month old. I don't often report on that because it does get to be a little dated, but it does give you kind of a sense as to, you know, how many sellers are getting under contract within the first 30 days. And I do like to throw that out there when the numbers get below 50% on the 14-day data. And we've been below that for quite some time. So for a few weeks now. So now we've got less sellers getting under contract as quickly. But what it does say, though, is that the Pierce County market is still a good market. It's still a good, solid seller's market for new listings coming on the market. You sit on the market, Pierce County is not for you. That's not going to be friendly to those that are sitting on the market more than maybe 14 days. So, or more than 30 days. So you want to make sure that you are very well prepared for the market. This is very dicey right now. I have a county that I'm reporting on today that they actually sold nothing in 1 week. It's 0%.
If I
If
were
I
in
were
Pierce
in Pierce
County,
County,
you know what
you
I
know what I
would
would do?
No, Dan, what would you do if you were in Pierce County?
do? I would clean windows. I'd stay.
Oh, you mean if you were a seller?
If I was
If
a
I was a
seller,
seller,
I would
I would
stage
stake
the house. I'd
I'd
clean the
clean
windows. I'd buy a
I'd
new
buy
front door. I would.
I would.
You would.
I would.
I would.
Would you? Who would you let pick out that front door?
I would let
I would
Pat
let
Howard
Pat Howard
pick out the front door.
front door.
That's the right answer, Dan. Because I got to tell you, sometimes my clients go off on their own and they try to do some of this stuff.
oh.
And I always warn them, please let me be a part of the process, you know, because sometimes people go pick out the front door that was popular in the 90s.
You
Don't
don't
do
want to
that.
Want to walk
the reservation. No.
No, I gotta keep my clients kind of close in, you know. And it's not their fault. It's because, you know, every single one of us has our own personal preferences. Listen,
Right.
I have a French door for my front door. That's not in style. It's not.
Right.
But I like it. So, but if I were to sell my house and I'm going to be like you and I'm going to say, I don't want to change my front door, but I probably would change my front door to something that's modern. You know, I'm not going to change all the other doors in my house, but I might change the front one and the door hardware because it makes sense. It makes sense.
It's one thing to be living with what you really like on a day-to-day basis,
Yes.
but it's another thing to be talking money.
Yeah. And so to change a front door could be thousands of dollars, to be fair.
Right.
Front doors are not cheap. They normally need to be solid wood. You don't really want to put a fiberglass door on your front door. You just don't. You want to go ahead and get a good quality front door. It's going to cost you some money to have it installed, but it's going to change your entry. That's the first contact the buyer has with your house, aside from the street, you know, vantage when they approach the front of your home. So you do want to make sure that you're checking that curb appeal. But one of the biggest things you can do, because as realtors and as buyers, when we go to open that front door, we're hanging out at the front door because that's usually where the key box is. So they're hanging out, they're looking at your porch or your entry, whatever that looks like. And so you want to have that nice and clean. And if you've got, if there's a nice little place for a patio setup, not a bad idea. Have a nice looking little cute little patio set up there, with a nice little plant or something on the table. Maybe maybe a bottle of wine in a bucket, with a couple wine glasses. Also nice scene, So you want the buyer to envision what it looks like living there.
Yes.
And that's the point of staging, and that's the point of, creating this lovely entryway when a person walks in the door. It's going to set the tone for the showing. If the front door is not perfect, and I hate to say it like that, but if the front entry doesn't look very appealing, it's going to hurt the tour. So, and I don't mean to put so much weight on it, but it really is true. When I come across a home and I'm out showing and the front door is solid and, doesn't look like somebody's trying to jimmy it open at some point, there's no missing paint and things like that, and this nice hardware that's real easy to get the key in, to open the door, it's not sticky, because if you start having to fuss with the lock, that's not useful either. So you really want it to door easily into this lovely space now that's the inside of your home that you also have staged beautifully.
Bear with me for just one second.
Okay, Dan's asking for us to bear with him. Oh no, did I send you that one? You're on the wrong page, buddy. My lender has gone off script on me.
I was double checking on something.
Hi Larry, hi Ellen, hi Alfred.
Okay.
I'm saying hi to my peeps. My TikTok peeps. Yeah.
Hello, TikTok.
Send me some hearts. I need some love. Sometimes it's hard for me to see the screen on my phone. I have to lean in. You'll see me do this. It's because I'm trying to see who's joining. Hi, Ron. Hi, Bill. Anyway, so we're talking all things real estate. And we just finished up with Pierce County real estate stats. We're going to move on now. Where do you think we're going to go next, Dan?
I think we're going to Mason County.
You are so smart. You are. We are going to Mason. Mason is next.
What can I say?
We love to give love to Mason County. Don't we, Dan?
Especially Mason County.
Especially Mason County. We've made an effort to try to get people to move to Mason County. So, one of the things I do like to mention once in a while, I like to talk about when are the times of year people move to different places in Western Washington or in Washington.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How many people moved to Mason County in 1 week? In like zero?
Actually, nobody made an offer.
Oh.
A week ago. Not one offer.
Not one offer?
So, but I have something I want to add to that because so the reason I pull stats, I should also let you guys know, and you too, Dan, the reason I like to pull stats from Mason County is I have clients in Mason County.
Oh.
So, yeah, I've sold homes down there, and I love it. I mean, a lot of times I'll go stay with my daughter in Kingston and then make the trek down to Mason County. But Mason County is beautiful. I think it's Tahola State Beaches down there. It's just a gorgeous area. It's cool, right? There's a lot of people are on quite a bit of acreage down there. You can get waterfront for a reasonable price or water view for a very reasonable price. But the thing I wanted to talk about regarding when do people move to certain areas, certain counties, and I think, the metropolitan areas like, King County and Snohomish County and Pierce County, I think there's a lot of movement even in the winter and the off seasons, let's say. But I think there's a lot more activity in like Kitsap, Skagit, and Mason counties in the summer, the spring and summer when it's more tourist season, and people can envision buying a cabin or a second home. And I think that's partly drives their market earlier in the, in spring and summer in those areas. And I think their markets cool down a little bit more in the fall and winter because there's not as much tourism.
It's easier to do some envisioning when it's like 78 degrees and sunny versus 42 and rain.
Yes, that's right. That is correct. It's a good assessment, Dan. So, and I don't know that, and honestly, I don't know that to be true. But as I've been pulling data, for the last few months, that does seem to be making sense to me. That would be the case. And my daughter is in Kitsap. She's been over there working as a Kitsap realtor for years. And we both believe that to be true of Kitsap County, that it's more of a spring, summer thing. Of course, there are people that move there in fall and winter, but I think their market is quite a bit busier I think their MSI goes up and down a lot more is what I'm trying to say. So our MSI in King County 1.5, in Snohomish 1.4, I think right now. In Kitsap they're all the way up to 1.7. And to be fair, in the spring they were knocking us out of the park. In the spring, Kitsap was on fire, spring and summer. So they really they had multiple offers. They were killing it over there. And so their market has fallen off dramatically, and I believe Mason County has too. Skagit, I'm not sure. I'll have to take a look at that, but anyway, just kind of food for thought. It's interesting when you start looking at actual statistics, because statistics don't lie. Yep, you can skew them, but for the most part, you have to know how to interpret them, right? And not everybody. I don't even. Maybe I'm not catching it all the way either, right? Because we all have our own ideas of what this means. This particular piece of data means. But what I can tell you is, if you're a seller going on the market in any one of these places, we have a very good idea as to how many buyers are going to be there to buy your property. And I got to tell you, in Mason County, wasn't anybody. Oof.
That's a rough week.
So when you get down to when you're looking at maybe 25% of sellers getting under contract within the first 7 days, and you're looking at very small numbers. So Mason County is not as populous as Snohomish and King counties. You can have weeks where there's nobody that's going to make an offer, and that's not that uncommon. So that's okay. Because I will tell you, they sort of made up for it during the 8 to 14 days, but we'll go over that right now.
Let's go over that right now.
Mason County, they are up to 3.1 months supply of inventory. So that's up from 2.3 just a week ago. So their inventory has been increasing. Whoops, I gotta shut this off. My Mr. Heater went off on me. Dang it. I was, reaching over there to get my hands warm. Boom. Cold out here. 14% of sellers set offer review dates in Mason County. Obviously, that didn't work well. And so you get down to that low number. If you do have the shiny object, it still may be worthwhile, but I'm not sure. I think at that point you start pricing your property properly, instead of trying to price it a little bit low. If it's a house that's going to sell for $720, don't price it at $700. Price it at $720, and the right buyer will buy it at $720. You don't need to price it at $700 to try to get multiple offers, because you might not get multiple offers, and that's called leaving money on the table. And I have seen agents do that. That's a no-no. So when the numbers for setting offer review dates gets too low, you want to start avoiding that practice so that you don't wind up leaving money on the table. Because you do want to get sold within that first 7 to 14 days. You really do. So... How many homes went under contract within the first 7 days on the market in Mason County during October 22nd to October 28th, Dan?
Was it zero?
You're right. It's zero. Not one offer got accepted.
But they made it important volume in the second 2 weeks.
Well, they didn't do too bad. 31% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between October 8th and October 21st. So not terrible. Hardly made up for the zero. But they've been bouncing around a lot, because again, you're dealing with smaller numbers, so it's a lot less meaningful on a week-to-week basis. I do have the 30-day data here, and 51% of sellers got under contract within the first 30 days on the market. So that's a very solid number. So if you're on the market 0 to 30 days, you've got a 50% chance of getting under contract. That's a fairly good number for sellers. So, all right, let me change jackets. I gotta tell you, I'm getting cold. It's not getting warmer, Jeff, it's cold. It's like 50 degrees out here. My hands are shriveling up. Hi, Andrew. Anyway, let me get a different jacket. I want people to watch my stats, and if I don't change, I don't think they will. All right. What do you think, maroon or cream?
Boy, that's a tough choice.
Yeah.
Let's go maroon.
Let's go maroon. Okay, here we go. Mr. Fat Tuesday is looking at me like I've lost my mind. Mom, why are you putting on different clothes? Why am I not getting my fresh pet? I'm hungry. You're just talking to a bunch of like phones and laptops. My poor dog. He's got to think I'm batshit crazy. He really does. Mr. Fat Tuesday, hi buddy. Are you super handsome? Okay, here we go. All right,
Going to
ready to
Kitsap,
roll.
Right?
What's that?
Going to
Going
Kitsap
to
County?
County?
No. Do you
No.
not like Skagit County, Dan? You're actually gonna give the people in Skagit County a bit of a complex.
I love Skagit County,
I love
but I
Skagit.
forgot to put their stats in this week's banners. I forgot.
Okay, Skagit County guys.
I'm very sorry, Skagit County.
Dan. What are we gonna do with him? Honestly,
I don't know.
it's hard to keep him in line. To be honest with you guys, he's down in Renton. I'm up here in Snohomish, and we're trying to coordinate this thing, and it's puzzling.
I let all of Skagit County down. I feel terrible. I'll try to bounce back.
I think it'll be okay. I'm pretty sure Skagit will be fine. So Skagit County, 2.3 months supply of inventory. 7% of sellers set offer review dates. 44% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And that's if they listed between October 22nd and October 28th. 30% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between October 8th and October 21st. So that was a little different story. So the market picked up a bit the week before last, but 2 weeks ago it was a little dicey. I think that's when we hit the 8.5%, and I think things slowed down markedly there. So that's what that's
going to be interesting to see if interest rates continue to creep a little bit lower. Maybe we get a little bit pickup in the market.
Oh gosh, yeah. If interest rates come down, Dan, it's gonna be unbelievable. I'm gonna turn into a professional offer writer, and there will be no mutual acceptance. It's gonna be tough. It's hard when you're competing. Like right now, guys, buyers, I can write you offers right now. We do not have to compete. Buyers, buy now. Do not wait.
You can write an offer that's actually going to get accepted.
I can write an offer. November, December, guys. November, December. Your 2 buying opportunity. 2 months for buying opportunities. I can write you an offer. We can get it accepted. We can get money off the price. We can get a 2-1 buy down possibly. Unless it's just 1 week on the market. Now that's the caveat there. But typically speaking, I'm going to be able to get you a much better value now. And that would mean that if the appraisal comes in, hopefully it comes in over where you ended up at. If it doesn't, that's okay, but that's kind of my goal. So I like my clients to feel like they really did get a good value, especially in the fall. That's hard to do the rest of the year. It really is. But fall is that time when sellers are a little bit antsy and they get nervous about the holidays coming up, and they are willing to make a deal. And they get worried about being left on the market until the first of the year. And after the first of the year, they'll sell. Huh?
That's a legit worry.
It's a legitimate concern because that's another 2 months from now.
Right.
So, you'd be waiting for buyers to come on the market sometime in January. That usually happens the 3rd week of January, where the rest of the inventory.
Then you finally close in February.
That's it. And so you're looking at holding that property for another 2-3 months. And so it's often a lot more attractive for a seller to just go ahead and negotiate. And to be fair, they're probably going to keep dropping price through November, December. So I have buyers right now that are listening to me, Gaurav and Shriyazi, and they are going to start looking the 3rd week of November. And we're going to start looking in earnest. And it's because they really wanted to wait until prices did have a chance to come down. And they're really interested in new construction. If they can, find something, and they don't have to move now. They can push this all the way till the end of December. So they could wait for builders to offer even better deals, or we can try to work something for them. They're really trying to keep their price point under 700, and they're hoping to get some kind of a buy down, maybe a 3-2-1 buy down. they were, there's something else I wanted to address today that I talked to Gaurav a couple days ago and just touched base with them. They've got family in town, so we haven't been actively looking. But also they wanted to wait until the market had a chance to come down a bit more, like it does routinely, and we'll get into that in a minute. But he wanted to know the difference because I think he heard my video where I was talking about last week about 2-1 buy downs and how that 2% interest and that 1% interest that gets contributed towards that buyer's payment for those first 2 years is essentially a bucket, right? That that money contributes towards your payment. So for a 2-1 buy down, for instance, that first year, that bucket of funds that the seller set aside, that $20K or whatever that is, 2% comes out of that bucket. 2% of your interest rate payment. How would you say that, Dan?
Well, I'd put it this way.
So the buyer would be paying interest on, if you have a 7% interest rate, the buyer would pay interest on a 5% payment, a loan with a 5% interest rate that first year, and then the second year they'd be paying a payment based on an interest rate of 6%, and then from there going forward it would be the full 7%, right? So that money that is contributing towards that payment is what the seller has. That's the seller contribution that we negotiate. So it's set aside. So if you don't use the full 2 years of that 2-1 buy down, that money is set aside. You can actually utilize that to refinance at that point. So you may have $5,000 left. You may have $10,000. If you can refinance within the first year, then you might have more like $10,000 left in there. So it's nice because it sits there.
I mentioned something, Kat.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, the focus is shifted in a lot of ways. I think you have a much higher probability of being able to refinance at some point in 2024, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you structure a strategy with the 2-1 buy down, you can use the remaining monies that you haven't used yet to include as your closing costs.
Yes.
In your refinance.
That's right. That's the beauty of a 2-1 buy down. A 3-2-1 buy down works very similarly. It's going to be a lot more expensive for the seller, and it's going to be a lot harder to get the seller to agree to something like that. But it is out there. That's a product that is out there. And again, that money essentially goes into a bucket. So my client was asking me, so how does it work when a seller buys down the interest rate permanently? So let's say there's a builder, Summit Homes, through their preferred lender, is buying down the interest rate permanently to 4.75% on a plat they have in Montlake Terrace, I believe. And that's costing the seller a lot of money. And Gaurav wanted to know, does that money go into a bucket similar to the 3-2-1 buy down or the 2-1 buy down? And it does not. That's a permanent rate buy down, and if you go to refinance, that money goes away. It's literally there to buy that interest rate down for that loan. So
the difference is
Mr. Fat Tuesday. Oh my God, he's bull surfing.
Again. So the difference between a 2-1 buy down and a permanent buy down is that the 2-1 buy down you have a note rate and a payment rate, right?
Yeah.
Different things, right? And for a permanent buy down, you're buying down the actual note rate.
Yeah, that's right.
So
and if you can get it down to 4.75, I have to tell you, I don't know that interest rates are going to come down that low again anytime in the near future. So that to me is kind of, it can be a brilliant strategy by the builder. It's also extremely expensive. It almost might behoove them to lower price a tad and do a 3-2-1 buy down, or just offer a 3-2-1 buy down. That's going to be cheaper than, I believe, less expensive than buying the rate down permanently. But or you could do like what Dan was suggesting to me a week ago, is maybe do a 5-1 arm. Offer the buyer a 5-1 arm and buy the interest rate down on the 5-1 arm down to a 4 or 5 or 6%, so that payment is fixed for 5 years. So anyway, another food for thought.
Well, from the point of view of the builder, the seller, those would be much cheaper options. From the point of view of the buyer,
it kind of, because he still hasn't sold those units, and so I'm concerned that he's going to follow the market down at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
So,
if,
and they're cool. The units over there are neat. They're really cool. They got some of them have storefronts, and what the deal with that is that there's a bedroom on the main floor with a garage, right? So there's a 2-car garage you can enter from behind the building, and then on the front of the building is a bedroom essentially with a bathroom, and you can access it from outside, but you can also access the unit also, and it's got a keyed entry from both areas, so you could utilize that as a downstairs bedroom, or you could rent it out as a storefront for like a tax accountant or various other businesses that would qualify for that location. So it's on a bit of a street with a sidewalk that's commercial. I think it's zoned mixed commercial residential. I'm not sure what the zoning is, but it's a special zoning that would allow for that.
oh, nice.
So it's just cool. I just thought it was really neat that you could turn around. If you're a tax accountant or you're somebody who can utilize that space, I think it's brilliant because you can live upstairs and your office can be downstairs. That's 0 commute time.
Yeah. That's right.
You gotta love that, right? And it's walkable to other businesses in that area, which I know we can't say walkable. It's within a quarter mile of other businesses in the area.
You can't say walkable?
I can't say walkable.
How about stumbleable?
No, because that's discriminatory apparently against people that can't walk. That's kind of the feeling in the industry right now that we probably should not be utilizing that verbiage.
Well, stumbleable would be like discriminatory against people who are sober.
That's right. You better watch yourself, Dan. You're going to be breaking some fair housing rules here. I don't think that it's I don't think it's actually illegal or against the rules to say walkable. I think it's just something where we're in our industry, we're trying to get away from saying things like family room and walkable. We're trying to rearrange our language to say things like it's very near downtown. There are sidewalks. It's close to a park and a college. It's 5 minutes to downtown.
Gonna have to come up with our housing pronouns pretty soon.
It's hard because now we're saying 2 living areas. I don't know what else to do.
Okay.
Anyway,
Let's move on.
Okay.
Hang on. Let's go to the next slide. The one we have not. Wait a minute. How is this not?
I don't know that Dan's with the program today, you guys.
Okay. So hopefully we can see this.
Hi, Tracy. Hi, John.
But this was really cool. You did a full analysis on an investment property.
I did.
Let's walk through that.
Okay, I do want to do this. Okay, so I did a full workup on an investment property in Bremerton. So Bremerton is one of the few areas in Western Washington that you can sort of get to pencil with a 25-30% down scenario. Okay, so this one's located on Elizabeth Street, and it's been on the market for not terribly long time, but more than 2 weeks. It's listed for $675. So the workup I did was based on a price of $650 because I feel like I believe that it is a tad overpriced, and so I chose to do it at $650. I don't think they're going to get $675. I think that's very unrealistic, and they might not get $650, but I think that's closer to being realistic. Okay. So they've got 3 units. The 1-bedroom unit rents out for $1,850. There's a 2-bedroom unit that also rents out for $1,850, and then there's a 3-bedroom unit that rents out for $2,100. So the total gross income for the year at those rental rates is $69,600. So that's your total gross income. So with a purchase price of $650,000, 25% down would be $162,500.
Yeah.
30-year loan at 8%. So I did 8% because last week we were at 8.5%. And I thought, well, the interest rates are a little better. Maybe I can do 8, right, Dan?
You can do 8.
So I did 8.
All day long.
Okay. So the total expenses for the property. So let's go through those one by one because I want you guys to know what's included in the expenses for an investment property like a multifamily. So this is a triplex. So you're always going to have property taxes. Property taxes are $4,095 on this particular unit.
Yeah.
You're always going to have property insurance. And in this case, it's $709. That to me seems a little light in the loafers. I would usually estimate closer to $1,200 to $1,500. I've seen insurance over $2,000 before. I think it depends on what kind of insurance and how much insurance you're putting on it. I have a tendency to want to be overinsured. So $700. It sounds squishy to me. I think it just makes the property look like it pencils better. So I would raise that up, but I think I left it for the purposes of today. I left it at what they say they're paying for it. And it could be Kitsap County has a little bit lower property insurance as well.
Right. Yep.
So property management's going to be 10%. So 69, let's see, what is it? 6960. So $6,960 a year because that's based on 10% of your gross income. And almost every area has property management fees of about 10%. So if the place maintains 100% occupancy, that's what you're going to pay a property manager to collect the rents, to serve any notices, to, arrange to have roofs cleaned and gutters cleaned, which that would be at your expense. But they'll make all the arrangements. So that's what they do. They're property managers. They're not going to pay for that stuff. But they definitely...
Can I tell you what the bright side is?
Yeah, sure, Dan.
It has gutters.
Yeah. Unlike the triplex in Aberdeen.
Unlike the triplex in Aberdeen.
So, yeah. And so, the other thing I like in an investment property is I like single level. This one is not single level. It's multi-level. That makes me nervous because you could have water leaks in the upstairs that affect the lower level, and then you've got ceiling patches, and it just gets messy. So I like single level duplexes and triplexes better, but those are harder to find.
Right.
And to be fair, to replace the roof is much more expensive because it's a lot more area. But anyway, that's a personal preference. But anyway,
Okay.
So repairs and maintenance, I went light on this one. I just did $1,200 for the whole year. That would be based on if you took a look at the property and it looked like it had been very well maintained and it didn't look like it was going to need anything. So maybe you have to replace a refrigerator or a stove in one of the units, or you need to do some kind of replace flooring in one of the units for whatever reason, some carpets or something in a couple of the bedrooms. So that would cover minor things like that. Now, if it's a building that's older that has some deferred maintenance, you're going to want to factor in quite a bit more.
Right.
But for the purposes of our discussion, I just did $1,200, which is just $100 a month. And the property's been very well maintained. That can be realistic. And then you save that for a few years in case there's something that does go wrong. And then they said that there's other expenses of $150. So the total expenses for this particular property are $17,254. Oh, I forgot. You know what? There's also another expense is water, sewer, garbage on this particular property. A lot of properties in Grays Harbor and in Kitsap County do expect the landlord to pay water, sewer, garbage. And in this case, it's significant, $4,120.
I was just looking at that number.
$4,140. And so your total expenses are $17,254 for the year for the triplex. And that includes those things that we just went over.
Right.
So I also like to include a little bit of vacancy. Sometimes I use 5%, and sometimes I use like a half a month's rent. So with the half month of the total rents. In this case, I believe we use 5%, and that's $34.80 per year for that. So to get your NOI, you're going to subtract out from your gross income your expenses and your vacancy factor, and you're going to get your net operating income, which in this case is $48,866. So $48,866 is your net operating income for this triplex. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out your annual debt service. So if you have an HB, what is it? HB112 calculator. I can never remember the name of that calculator. Anyway, though I have the app.
Financial calculator.
The financial. If you have a financial calculator, you can, do
Like
your
the
75. You can calculate based on your purchase price of $650 what 75% of that is, and you take that and you calculate your interest rate at 8%. It's a 30-year loan, and then you can calculate what your payment would be on that, and you take that times 12. That's your annual debt service. So your annual debt service on this particular property with a purchase price of $650 is $42,925. So that's your net annual debt service. So if you subtract your annual debt service from your net operating income, that'll give you your pre-tax cash flow. And so your pre-tax cash flow on this one, with the given parameters that we've started with here, is actually $5,941. So that looks to me to be positive. So I have an investor that this is looking pretty good for. So
Nice.
the after-tax cash flow, after you take into account depreciation, etc., that's at $7,581 is your after-tax cash flow. So I have to tell you, that's positive. And over time, when you look at the APOD, the stretch APOD, over the next few years, if you increase rents by 2% a year, that positive cash flow gets bigger each year. So a lot of times the second year I'll calculate in a little more vacancy, and then I'll go back to the 5% or that half vacancy rate for the other, if we're stretching it out 4 years. But you'll see that after-tax cash flow continues to go up over the years, except for the year maybe where you did a capital improvement or you had a little more vacancy. So this looks to me like a good property for my investor. I will be sending this one to him this evening. Don't buy it. I shouldn't put that out there. I try to do these on properties that my clients wouldn't like, but that doesn't work like that. I like to show the good ones. So, the last one I thought was good, though. I went down and took a look at that one on Sunday. Blew me out of the water. So disappointed. So just because I'm telling you it looks good on paper doesn't mean it's going to be good. So, don't make an offer on it.
Well, it might pencil, but on second inspection, it's that second inspection we got to do.
And it's hard, you guys, with investment property because a lot of times the units are all rented. And so it can be very difficult to get through into the units until after you have mutual acceptance. A lot of sellers will expect you to submit an offer, and then they'll negotiate with you and decide whether they're going to get into contract with you, and then they'll allow you to view the units. So that could be a kind of a handicap because a lot of times we're buying from out of the area. A lot of investors are, buying in Aberdeen and buying in Bremerton from other parts of the state or out of state, and they don't really want to make a bunch of trips there. They'd like to either go view the property up front and then have it inspected later by an inspector and them not be there, but they'd like to do that before they actually make the offer.
Yeah.
So that's the awkward part, because there are going to be times when you're going to make an offer on a piece of property and you go there and visit it and you're just going to be like, no. And you want to do that before you pay an inspector, $1,000 to $1,500. You're going to want to inspect that property yourself before you have an inspector come out there, so that you can see whether you really want your offer to stay together. Mm-hmm. So, because based on the inspection contingency, you can get out of a contract in Washington State. It's a get out of jail free card, right? You don't even have to have it inspected. You can just say, I just changed my mind, if you have an inspection contingency. So, and that's what multifamily investors do now, is they go ahead and they write their offer, then they go take a look at the property the best they can, after it's under contract, they'll walk through the units, and then they'll decide whether they want to move forward with having it inspected. And that's the right way to do it when it's occupied.
Okay.
So, and in this case, it is occupied. I do believe in this one we might be able to get in to one of the units. I think she said one of them might be available to tour, but I have to look. I've looked at so many today, I can't remember.
Well, good luck with that one.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
That one. I genuinely mean it.
Do you?
Yes. In fact,
Okay,
it's from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, That's amazing. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
Yes, you're very welcome, Kat.
Okay. So there were some other things I wanted to go through today, Dan. Do you think we have some more time?
We have as much time as you want.
You know, I'm a chatterbox today.
Yeah, you're full of piss and vinegar.
I am. I'm just, I don't know what happened. It happened to me yesterday too. I sat down to write my stats by Kat, and I said, I'm gonna write an outline. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I really don't want to take the time to write the whole thing, because oftentimes, sometimes I sit there and go, I don't know what I want to say about this, And so I decided I want to talk about final walkthroughs, because I did one on Sunday. And I realize over time how important final walkthroughs are. And I sat down, and buyer gets to do, as they're nearing the end of their contract purchase time frame, getting towards closing. So you want to have that within 3 to 5 days of closing. And those are business days. So you could theoretically, if you're closing on Thursday, you could theoretically do a walkthrough on the previous Friday or Saturday or Sunday. And so you have time before you sign in case anything needs to be addressed. I don't like waiting until the last day or two, because now you've already signed the paperwork and you've probably wired funds. So one of the points I wanted to make is have your final walkthrough done as early as possible.
Right.
So, at least the weekend before, if you're closing later in the week. Otherwise, you really want to schedule it. You do want to try to schedule it 5 business days prior to closing. So some of the reasons you want to have a final walkthrough are, you want to make sure the seller has left the items that they were supposed to leave. So if the refrigerator stays with the home, the washer dryer stays with the home, you want to make sure those items are still there. Another reason you want to have a final walkthrough is you want to make sure the home is in the same condition it was as when you originally toured it. So you want to watch and make sure that the hardwood floors are not scratched from someone dragging a piece of furniture over them and inadvertently scratching them. You want to make sure that there's no additional damage to anything, that, the stainless steel dishwasher isn't dented now. So
you want to make sure you don't have any teenagers just walking down the street and decide they want to break it and have a little fun.
Oh gosh, Dan, you're taking
Remember
me
that
back.
story?
Taking me back. Granite Falls. I'm having a meltdown. That's a whole nother story, Dan.
The Granite Falls gang.
Oh gosh. They did not have a walkthrough, Dan. There was no walkthrough.
Just saying.
We will address that one. That was a time. So I had a listing in Granite Falls. I guess we'll go there really quick. We'll do a side track here. I had a listing in Granite Falls, and it was a cute Rambler. And they were good friends of my daughter, and they knew they could trust us. And so I gave them very, very specific set of instructions as to what would really need to be done to this home. There was dark paint everywhere. There were curtains on all the windows. There were heads. There were, I have to be, actually, you know what? I'm not sure I should be saying this because my client watches me. Let's skip this story.
Move on from this story.
He watches me all the time. Jeez, let's skip that one. Okay, we can't talk about that one. Moving along, unless we make it very generic. Anyway, so reasons to have a final walkthrough. Another reason you want to have a final walkthrough. So I'm telling you guys these things because we have come across this stuff. My daughter's in real estate. I've been in real estate for almost 25 years. I have office mates that have been in real estate a long time, and we have had things happen that come up on the final walkthrough you would not believe. And so you do want to make sure that the things that the seller said were going to be at the home are at the home. You also want to make sure that they've removed their own items, all of them. They haven't left some things that you don't want. You also want to make sure the home is in the condition as when you saw it when you went through during your initial tour. But the other thing, that really important part about doing a walkthrough, a final walkthrough, is to make sure there is no new water damage. So often sellers move out of the home well in advance of it closing, and something happens.
Right.
And the buyer, in some cases they didn't do their final walkthrough, or they did their final walkthrough and they just didn't notice the water leak that was starting through the ceiling from upstairs. And if they had looked above their heads, they might have seen that, and they could have addressed it with that seller before closing.
Well,
So
on the bright side, this is the time of the year that you can spot this potential water damage, right? I mean, it's raining. If it's dripping down the roof, when you're
So
looking
if
at
it's
it,
from the
you know it's
roof,
wet.
then it's
There you
yeah.
go.
If it's from the roof, this would be the time of year that you could spot that stuff. And that's actually, to be fair, that's a fair point as well. You do want to watch and see if there's any, once the rainy season starts, that it gets a lot easier to spot roof leaks than it does in the sunny summer season around here. But really, what I'm talking about more are from plumbing issues. So and it's from not using the plumbing, right? A lot of times it's literally from not using the plumbing. And then somebody turns on, an inspector turns on a couple things, and now all of a sudden there's a leak at the hot water tank. And no one caught it because the inspector looked at the hot water tank before. And so, these things crop up. And I think there's a lot more water damage that happens within the first month of home ownership than probably any other time that you own the home. And it's because of that time when the home was vacant and you're moving into a house that you're unfamiliar with and you're not checking all the things. So I actually, in my Stats by Cat that I put out every week via email, I actually have a list of areas that in a protocol you should follow when you move into your home to help prevent water damage when you first move in. So anyway, those are the reasons why you would do a final walkthrough. Those are the main reasons. So then I have a whole nother section in my Stats by Cat this week about water prevention. And, and what I do from there is I suggest to people when they move into their house day one that you go ahead, run your kitchen sink. Let the water run for a few minutes. Look down below. Is it leaking down below, right? Shut it off. Turn on your dishwasher. Let it run a couple cycles. Check the seal. Make sure it's not leaking out the front seal. And also that it's not leaking underneath. So you're not going to be able to see under there very far, right? But hopefully you could detect if there was water. Hopefully it would come forward, not go backwards, right? But that's one thing you can do. Yeah, another thing you can do is you can run your wash machine. Run it through a couple cycles. Look underneath the wash machine, but also check where the hoses connect, right? Because those can also spring leaks. Check your hot water tank after you start using the water. Look at the connections. Make sure there's no water leaking from those connections. I have come back from vacation, turned my water on, took a shower, and thought, I have been gone for 2 weeks. I'm going to check my hot water tank. 2 leaks. Two.
2 weeks.
2 different pipes. It was a simple crank of the wrench, and they were tightened back up. But they always tell you don't over tighten, right? And so the person who installed it didn't over tighten them. But here we go. 5 years later, I had 2 leaks all at the same time, and I'd been gone for a couple of weeks stayed at my daughter's house for a holiday. And it was just unbelievable that I caught it. I was very, very grateful to have caught that. But so another thing is you have a jetted tub. Go ahead. Fill up the jetted tub, maybe not full, but fill it up enough to cover the jets and see if that's leaking, right? There's always an access port to a jetted tub. Look in there as far as you can, run the jets for a while, empty it out, and if there's no leaks, hopefully you're good, right? But same thing with your bathroom sinks. Run the sinks, see if there's any leaking in the plumbing down below.
So in order to get all these incredible tips and these stats that you put out, is it okay for our viewing audience to email you to get your Stats by Cat?
They can DM me on TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, or YouTube, or you guys can you can email me at cathoward@windermere.com, KATHOWARD@WINDERMERE.com. Or you can give me a call, shoot me a text, that's my favorite, 206-465-2622. That's 206-465-2622, in case you didn't catch that. Anyway, I would be happy to add you to my list. I spend a fair amount of time every single week pulling statistics for Snohomish, King, and the various counties around Western Washington. Counties that I'm interested in. 206-465-2622. Oh yeah, and so for you people on Facebook and YouTube, you probably can see the number on your screen. But I spend a fair amount of time pulling statistics for counties that I care about, not just any county, right? So Kitsap County, my daughter's there, and she's a realtor over there, so I like to keep tabs on what they're doing. Plus, I like Kitsap County for investors. So I really want to know what's happening in Kitsap County. Grays Harbor, investors. I want to know what's happening in Grays Harbor County for my investors. And also, I have friends that are investing down there, and my daughter's investing down there, and my transaction coordinator's investing down there. We love Grays Harbor. What can we say? Anyway, so I keep track of Grays Harbor. I keep track of Pierce, King, and Snohomish because that's metropolitan Seattle area, and I have clients living in all three of those counties. And I also keep track of Skagit because I have clients in Skagit County. And it's also more affordable, right? So I like to know what's going on in Skagit County so that I can put people further north if they need something more affordable.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Down in Grays Harbor, how far is it down? If you want to go to the casino and go to Ocean Shores. How far away is that?
I want to say it's like 29 miles or 30 miles, something like that. It's not very far. They've been doing road work down there, which makes it more like 45, 50 minutes. But normally it's a quick jaunt. It's a very quick jaunt.
I was just curious.
Yeah. So, what I've been reminded is if you have investment property down there, you can visit it. I think it's technically twice a year. Ask your tax accountant. I'm not one. But from what I understand, you can go visit your property and you can spend the night. So you theoretically could go to the beach and spend a night and write one night off of your taxes. Again, talk to your tax accountant.
Oh, that's a good deal.
So, if you have
your investment property, the cash flows, and you go to the beach.
Well, that's the thing. If you're buying investment property, you want to think about where is it located? Is it somewhere that I'd be interested in going to? If you want to check on it in person. So sometimes I kind of think, do I, want to take people to, and nothing wrong with Moses Lake, but not everybody, it's for one thing, it snows in the winter, right? So not every investor is going to be on board with buying a home in an area that snows. But there's also not a lot of other things over there, aside from why I would go, which is bird watching. There are conventions and things like that. And so the wildlife portion of it over there is fabulous. I like to go over there in the summer and spring. But a lot of people may not, it's not like it's a big metropolitan area. You're not going to go there to go shopping. There's not a lot of beaches. So, that's why I think that sometimes buying something like in a place like Aberdeen can be sort of a little more appealing because when you do go down there, you can go to the ocean and you can be somewhere that you might want to spend some time. And there is a casino down there too, if you'd like that sort of thing. But I love to go to Ocean Shores once in a while. I prefer Long Beach, but if I had an investment property in Aberdeen, which I probably will soon, I'll be going to Ocean Shores too. I've always gone to Ocean Shores. It's closer, right? It's close for us up here to go to Ocean Shores. It's a quick 2 hour and 45-minute drive without road issues. So,
Right.
But the other thing I wanted to mention about what you want to do when you're looking for water leaks is you also would want to use your water dispenser and ice dispenser on your refrigerator several times. Fill up a couple glasses of water. Make sure it's not leaking underneath or behind. I know it's hard to tell behind. That's where the water line is, but that's a source of a lot of water problems, water issues and water. So I have a solution for all of this. So I've told you to do all these things after you move into your house. So you do that to make sure there isn't a current problem. But I purchased Moen water sensors from Lowe's about a little over a year ago. They were a little pricey, but I think I got 6 of them for $300, I think is what it ran me. And you can tie those into your Wi-Fi, and if there is a leak detected, it will send you an alarm that says the water detector under your refrigerator is detecting moisture. So, and they have little leads. So the places that it's tough to put like a whole little monitor that's about this big, they have tiny little thin leads that on wires that you can slide underneath the refrigerator. So, and then you can put that monitor in the cabinet next to it and be very, very discreet. So I would put if I were a new homeowner and I'm getting into a new house and you don't know anything about how the plumbing has behaved in the past, you really don't, go ahead, invest in a few water sensors. and you put one. This is where you want to put them. Put a lead underneath your wash machine, right? Mount the sensor on the wall next to it, and then run the lead underneath the wash machine. Same thing with the dishwasher. Put a lead underneath the dishwasher, underneath your refrigerator, underneath your hot water tank, right? Underneath your bathroom sink, your kitchen sink, and the other sinks in your home. And then also go ahead and run a lead underneath that jetted tub or a tub or shower if you have access. Most times we don't have, but with jetted tubs you usually do have access. Get that lead with the little feet down and test them before you install them. Take a little plate of water where just not even a 1/4 inch deep, put that lead in there, make sure it sounds the alarm, and then install it. And then you replace those batteries every 6 months. I let mine go for 1 year and they were dead at the end of the year. So you have to replace them every 6 months. And they are, I want to say they're like 10, 11 bucks each, but I got to tell you, worth their weight in gold.
Yeah.
I replaced them in my rental this last year when I had tenants move in. The first day he came home, I had put a new one underneath the sink. And that one was going off the first day he got home. He just moved in the day before. And he called the property manager, looked underneath there. The angle stop was broken. It was brand new angle stop, 1 year old. And so they cut off the water to the house. And I was able to get a hold of my plumber who installed it originally a year before. And he came running out there the very next morning and fixed that angle stop. And my property manager, by the way, Anne, you are amazing. She actually picked up, she went to the Safeway. She brought him a couple cases of water to drink, drinking water, and she also brought him like 10 gallons of water in case he needed to flush a toilet, wash his hair, overnight there. So that's my property manager. That's why I love Windermere Property Management.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I think it's Ann Ashford is her name. And she's amazing. I adore her. And they do charge. They charge a full month to get a new lease in there. But a new renter in there, but I would pay them that. I have no issue. They are that good. It's a hands off for me. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They take care of the roof. They schedule all the maintenance. I just tell them what I want done. So anyway, Mr. Fat Tuesday, you got a lot to say there.
I was gonna say, Mr. Fat Tuesdays, he might be telling us it's time to wind things up.
I know, and listen, I didn't get to this though. This is the meat time. We have to do it, Dan.
Okay, let's get to it.
Let's do this. Okay, so you guys, I want to tell you guys, this is the time to buy. So right now is an incredible opportunity. So I'm gonna tell you some things that are gonna blow your mind. So right now in the marketplace, we have Mr. Fat Tuesday. That's enough. Thank you, buddy. Nice boy. Oh, buddy, he gets kind of carried away. The neighbors just got home. So for people that stop, Mister, it's okay, Mom. I'm gonna get you a fresh pet in just a minute. Okay, that's enough. Good boy. Anyway, I just want to let buyers know that this is a good time, Mister. It's a good time to get off the fence. The real estate market goes in cycles. So January through April, May, it always does this. It goes up a bit, right?
Right.
And then we get to May, June, and a lot of times by midsummer, we've kind of leveled out. We may even have started dropping off. And so what I want to talk about, and then as you go through the year further, we have a tendency after summer in the fall to start to go down a tad, right, into winter. And then we have January hit again, and this thing starts to happen, right? So this is a general real estate average sales price cycle, right? So it doesn't matter where you live, that's just a general cycle. So what I'm addressing today is, what does it look like for the average sales price from here, December, January, to when it gets to June? What is that? What's that spread? How much more are you going to pay for that same house? So that's what I thought was a very curious question and that I had in my mind. I said, how much is that going to cost my buyer if they don't buy in December versus if they bought in May or June. So that's what I did, you guys. I pulled the data. I pulled the data in January from 2012 to 2023, and then I pulled the same data in June, and I wanted to see what is the average sales price difference, the price, and I took it down to price per square foot, but it's all the same. The percentage is the same. So it's fascinating because for Snohomish County, the average over 12 years, the difference between what you would pay in December or January. So January is a December negotiation, right? So it's the January numbers. The difference you would pay in January versus what you would pay in June is 9.7% in Snohomish County. Now,
That's a big difference.
it's a huge difference. And so let's see. The average sales price in Snohomish County is $819,710. And let's see, do I have that number written down? Hold on. There is a specific number that is 9.7%. Do I have it written down here? I have it in my book, if I don't have it here.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to put up on the screen King County.
Well, hold on.
King
Let me get this Snohomish. Let me get this. Hold on. Let me grab my book because I have it written down.
Okay.
Okay, here you go. This is my book, you guys. This is what I write all my stats in every week. And I jot down all kinds of stuff. It's not just my stats. So, hold on. Everything regarding the real estate market. Hey, mister. You're getting kind of mouthy over there. Let's see. I got to go back a little bit here. Let's see. What did I do? Do you have a calculator, Dan? Because I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave people hanging. I know I calculated. I wrote it down on something, but for some reason I don't have it on what I printed out.
Okay,
And
I got it right here.
Okay, so take $819,710.
$819,710.
Yep, take that times 0.097. Because I want to tell you guys what the difference is between buying the same home in January versus June. Which would actually
$79,511.
That's right. So it's going to cost you $79,000 more to buy that same house if you wait until May, because June is a May negotiation, right? And so you could buy the house in December and pay $79,000 less, or you can wait till June, and that's an average, you guys. So over that 12-year period, 8 years, the average price went up at least 9%. It went up 9% or more. So 8 out of those last 12 years. So the 9.7% is an average of what the market swings between January and June. That's worth noting. The average in King County, I believe, is 12.7%. So it's even more dramatic.
Correct.
So so it is actually very wild, you guys. And this is called timing the market. And so most people do not have that luxury. They sell a house and they buy a house at the same time, and that's fine. You're doing that in the same market. What you don't want to do is sell in December and then say, "Oh, geez, I should have bought. Let me buy in June," because now you're leaving money on the table, right? Unless it's something you have to do because life dictates that, right? Because but if you can buy and sell in the same market, you're good. But if you can plan when you sell or plan when you buy, you sell in April or May, you buy in November, December. If you wait till January, you've waited too long. You're going to wind up with competition, and that's when prices start to skyrocket. And it happens almost every single year. So I just wanted to put it out there that I really want my buyers to know that this is the time. Interest rates might be a little bit high, but we can deal with that down the road. They're not always going to be 8%, or Dan said they're 7. So
I said they're 6 something.
He said they're 6 something. I misspoke. I'm sorry. Anyway, interest rates are 6 something, according to Dan. So
6.97.
So that's not so bad. I did, 8.5 was feeling a little queasy to me, But 6 and something, that doesn't seem so bad. Maybe we get a 2-1 buy down from the seller, and then maybe over the next couple of years we see interest rates tick back to maybe 5.5 or 5 at some point. Even if it's for a short bit, you could refinance.
That's the game plan.
Or you could do a 5-1 arm. Just saying, that's another option. I did that when I bought my house. Worked out just fine. Maybe not the key to everybody's success with that, but it's a way of doing it.
It's an option.
It's an option, right? So anyway, this is a good time to buy, guys. Just saying. If you're just looking at if you're just looking at average market cycles in real estate, this would be the ideal time to buy, irregardless of interest rates, right? Just leave that out of the conversation. The market cycles normally, and it's doing it again this year.
Yeah.
So there's very few years it doesn't cycle normally. We went through the 2008, 2012, that period of time, we didn't have a normal market at all, because there was all kinds of foreclosures and a lot of bad things happening in the economy. But that's not where we're at now.
Right. That's right.
So we are seeing normal market cycles last year and this year. So anyway, I just thought that was fun to point out. I wanted to get that in before we ended things today. I know it's getting kind of dark. So I ran long. I got a little verbal today.
That's
Had a lot of words, Dan. I picked up a lot of words at the word bank this morning. It's hard to use them all up when you do that,
Well, it's worth every one of them.
I feel bad for the people that came after me. They had very quiet days.
Slim pickings on the shelves.
For words. Especially if they wanted to talk about real estate.
Yes.
Hi, guys. I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. For people that don't know me.
Well, Jan, I'll tell you what,
Are we done?
Let's wrap it up.
It's dark. It's almost 5 o'clock.
Tuesday fed.
Fat Tuesday's
it's
hungry.
dark.
He needs some fresh pat.
Alrighty.
Okay, bye, guys. We're signing
Bye-bye,
off.
guys.
See you later.